Good afternoon, class. How's everyone doing today?
Good, thank you.
Good. Well, we've got a lot of material to go through today. You're going to first watch a video clip of this gentleman. You probably recognize him, Martin Luther King Jr., giving his I Have a Dream speech in Washington, D.C. in 1963. And this is all going to lead into our topic today, which is going to be the final two rhetorical devices used in persuasive writing. Now remember, yesterday we talked about appealing to reason, which is using facts, evidence to back up a claim. Today we're going to be discussing appeals to emotion and ethics. And this is all leading up to your homework assignment tonight, which is going to be to write a persuasive speech about a topic you're interested in, trying to get somebody to do something you want them to do, and you're going to role play tomorrow in our class period with a partner. So, the I Have a Dream speech from Dr. Martin Luther King was at the height of the civil rights movement in America. It was one of the most powerful, influential speeches of the 20th century. And so when you listen to this, be listening for King's tone of voice and the language he uses, and the way he sort of sets up his arguments, as it's going to be very crucial to build up your point, build up your case when you're writing your persuasive essays. So we're going to listen to this point, and this is towards the end of the speech. This is kind of the culmination, if you will, of his topic.
The former slaves and the sons of former slave owners, will they be able to sit down together at the table of brotherhood? I have a dream that one day, even the state of Mississippi, a state sweltering with the heat of injustice, sweltering with the heat of oppression, will be transformed into an oasis of freedom and justice. I have a dream that my four little children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. I have a dream today. I have a dream that one day, down in Alabama, with its vicious racists, with its governor having his lips dripping with the words of interposition and nullification, one day right there in Alabama, little black boys and black girls will be able to join hands with little white boys and white girls as sisters and brothers. I have a dream today.
So can anyone tell me from what you just heard what King's purpose is? What his goal is right now with this speech? Volunteers? Ray?
Maybe motivation to motivate those he's talking to.
Okay. And what's he trying to motivate them to do, or what sort of?
To stand up for a cause.
Okay.
So, to motivate them to join with him in standing up for, the cause, obviously, civil rights for him. So, yeah.
Okay, good. Yeah, the goal with any persuasive writing is trying to convince the other person that your point should be taken seriously, or that this action should take place. So I want each of you to think of a time in your life when you either requested or asked somebody to do something that you wanted them to do. So you can the three of you can get into groups together and just discuss for about 30 to 45 seconds what experience comes to mind about a time when you tried to persuade somebody to do something. Don't be
I
shy.
have to think about that one. I might think about it for 30 seconds. Hmm?
Oh, convincing our kid. Yeah.
All right, does
When
anyone?
you persuaded someone else to do something?
Yeah, when you wanted somebody to do something, and you're trying to convince somebody.
That
It
they
could
do
be-
something, not yourself.
No, it could be.
No.
It could be you're trying to get your younger sister to take out the trash so you don't have to, or getting your parents to buy you a video game because you've waited so long for the video game and why they should give you the video game. Does anyone have? Devin?
Pass. I'm still thinking.
All right. Does anyone want to share?
Come back to me.
Yes, Jen.
Trying to have my parents to buy me these new pair of shoes. Yes, I begged them and I said I will do this in order for them to get me that. So hopefully, I have some goodwill with them and they will let me have it. The new pair of shoes.
Okay, so but you sounded like you presented sort of an offer to them, like I'll do this in
Yes,
exchange
in
for
exchange,
for this. Okay, good. Well, that kind of leads us into our discussion today about the final two rhetorical appeals of persuasive writing. And the first one we're going to talk about is appealing to emotion. And this occurs when a writer uses an argument that's meant to engage a reader's either sympathies, values, or compassion. Oftentimes it's with an anecdote or with personal testimony, something the person has experienced firsthand. I know for me, I was volunteering at a homeless shelter one day, and I got into this conversation with this woman who started telling me her story and about how she had gotten into a car accident and she broke one of her legs and she couldn't work. Her job duties didn't allow her, with her injury, to be able to work. And she was a single mom raising one child, and the company eventually let her go, and since she wasn't working, she couldn't afford to pay the rent, and so she became evicted. And she was telling me that she had to live on the street, so every night she's sleeping on the cold sidewalk with no pillows, not knowing where her next meal would come from. And I remember thinking that, I would go home that night and I would have a roof over my head and food to eat. So I looked in her eyes and I saw the pain and the hurt, and that stirred me to want to do something for her. I wanted to help some way. I didn't know what that was at the time, but I knew I wanted to help her, either give her money or help her find a job or career center, or just some place to make her life better. So oftentimes with appeals, we're trying to stir up in people, stir their emotions, stir them to what we're passionate about, to get them to be passionate about it as well too. And so appealing to ethics, which is our final appeal, is when the writer gains support for an argument by linking it to a widely accepted value or belief. And this can occur when, say, a political corrupt government leaders, for example, in Rwanda in the 1990s, there was this really atrocious genocide where the Hutus and the Tutsis, there were two tribes that were living in Rwanda that had lived together for centuries. Their kids played together. The men and women did business together. They shared meals with one another. They liked each other. But then one year in the early 90s, a corrupt government official came into power, and he decided that the Hutus were the superior to the Tutsis. So he ordered the Hutus to go into homes and murder innocent Tutsis, men, women, and children. And so it was really a time of political power exceeding the morality and the morality of the human race. So in that case of ethics, the Hutus and the Tutsis, it's a case of you would never, obviously everyone would never desire to, no one condones killing another human being, but the political leaders in this case justified it by saying, oh, we're the superior race, we're better than they are. And they got a lot of people to buy into that. Now the situation changed after a group of rebels overthrew the government, and then another president came into power and reconciled the tribes to one another, and now the people are living in peace and a democracy. But it just, you can see through that example, and appealing to King, and going back to King's speech, that there's a lot of oppression in the world and throughout the history, and people use persuasion as a powerful technique. So now we're going to go on to our next activity.